Good day, good day. Much love, much love, much love to you and yours. I can wait. I'm learning to be patient. Much love, family. Much love to you and yours. Let me turn this down a little. That's an amethyst meditation in the background from Temple of Sounds. We're going to be talking about currency and deferment. Deferment of currency. Energy. So I've been on this thing. Why have I been on this thing of deferment and deferment of energy? Like a dog with a bone. I don't want to let go. I can't. I can't. Why? Because this is rooted in my pain. Okay? And when you're a child and you can't explain things, and then you take the normal route, and then you find out people have lied to you, there's an anger that I'm feeling growing up in a culture, knowing that people have lied to me, and a lot of time has been wasted in institutions, and then finding out about gang stalking, which falls under human trafficking, and then realizing, when the lights turn on and you realize what's happened to you and what's been stolen from you, and that it continues. It's not just you either, so how can you really get too mad about it when you look around and you see how many other people have had time, space stolen from them, and they don't even realize what hit them, what happened to them, let alone have the means to get angry at the right things. You know what I'm saying? So there's just mixture that I'm feeling of gratefulness because I know, overwhelmed because I feel like, well, what can I do about it? It's bigger than me. And the why. When you start looking through all this information and stuff, it really, especially when they start picking at you with the gang stalking and stuff, it would really, I would hope that you have a real reason for doing what you're doing, because it's going to cost you everything. So just being lied to and realizing the secrets and stuff, is very painful. So why are we here? Looking at energy on a scale of all of us, right? I'm thinking of us being jewels. I'm thinking of us being crystals. I'm thinking of us all having a part to play in this big orchestra of the Matrix, where it's like a play. Some of us we all have our roles, right? The things that we do. I'm thinking of that saying even, that's golden, when you have something that's substantial, something that sustains to be able to say. They're jewels. We call them jewels, right? That's golden. Those are jewels. So our ancestors embedded within the language, which is a light code frequency, our essence. And within that essence is intent. Words are like a paintbrush. And along with the intent is the color. The intent and the nature of a person using the language and the words, the light code frequency that they're brushing with, depends on their nature, whether it's coming from a low wave frequency in the reds or whether it's coming from a higher frequency, like say in the purples or fuchsia or white light. These colors are also frequencies. Like the one we're listening to is amethyst. Amethyst just so happens to be purple. Also happens to be a higher frequency on the scale of the chakra chart, which would put us in your third eye, right? So us carbon-based beings who within our water hold a record, hold in information, under pressure or not, we're like crystals, right? 666, carbon, atom, proton. And we're going to come back to that. So we're like crystals, we're like jewels. We can be golden, we can set a tone. And if you studied human design, like, or not, just like when you walk into a room and you're in a room with a whole bunch of people and you're all chatting and having a good time and it feels good. And then that one person walks in the room and everybody stops talking and then it just doesn't feel good anymore. You know, or you're in a room and everybody's talking and it feels good, and then that one person walks into the room and it even feels better. They're like, hey, so-and-so is here. Now it's really on, and it brings in more of the fabulous energy as opposed to feeling like something sucked it out, sucked air out of the room. Okay, so that's golden. That's setting a tone, okay, for the record. And we keep information. Sometimes we hold on to hardships. We hold on to pain. We hold on to dis-ease. According to universal law, good day, beloved. According to universal law and just the balances of this dualistic world, because we're dealing with polarity, those opposites are not always something that is counterproductive. Depending on the way we look at them and our essence, those opposites are things that can push us into our own personal development. Now, as a demon and a son of a ish, if you don't want that personal development, then I would expect that that thing could be the most monstrous, most intrusive, adversive situation, right? And appear like it was just a hardship. But that was only because of the way we were internalizing it. I'm not saying that all situations are like that. But I'm saying some of them are. Like, for instance, the end of the world as we know it. If you're able to glean what has been going on and that a lot of it needs to stop, then thinking of the end of that era of thinking and being as the end of that world and era is not such a bad thing. You know? So we have this pole. We have decomposition and composition, as well as us being crystals, right? Our hopes and dreams. Man, I hope I get that job. I hope I can buy that thing that's going to make me feel better. Lord Jesus, hold the wheel. All these things that the things prayed for and the hope of things not yet seen. So we pray, right? We use our air, we use our breath, we use our intention to pray, and it goes into the air, and we breathe, and we have this symbiotic relationship with this other world that a lot of us don't even pay attention to. And that's the trees. And what do they make the money with? The trees. And where do they put all that symbolism and stuff on? It's a whole nother subject of how currency, that's what I'm talking about. Currency is currency. We're also the currency. We're the in the rough. Jewels in the rough and the raw. Okay? Before they put cut on it and break it down and whitewash it and do all this, step on it and all that kind of stuff. I like the words there that came up. So our ancestors and our very being, our essence, it can be broken up. Good day, beloved. Good day, family. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I get into this flow. Our essence can be segmented, deferred, broken down, right? Stepped on. Like a drug. Yeah. Just like information when it gets real good to you, it's the passion. And the passion is like an entity, and it takes many faces depending on your intention. And it's like a color. It's like a color, and the person is the easel. Okay? So you can take passion and do all kinds of stuff with it. You can make a pedophile ring, because passion and desire turns into something. Or you can sell, you can be a cocaine cowboy. You can use your poppy plants to feed your people, because you come from a poor country, and you realize that other people are trying to exploit something else. So you can use your passion to paint your easel with the downfalls of someone else's desire, if you choose to, if you know how to use the polarity. Which is what I'm getting at. The unawareness of how valuable our energy is and what it is the technology, is where the currency, where the gap needs to be breached. It is the space where that is the final frontier in between our ears and our hearts and our deeds, and making the connection that has been stolen from us. We haven't been able to make this connection because spirituality and sciences have been segmented, right? So we weren't making the same equations that they could make in secret societies and stuff, where they put the occult sciences and stuff and spirituality together. We are a life force inside a carbonated body, and our body is also a representation of this body. Yeah, if you think it's flat, just imagine that it's a map. or regardless of whether it's flat or round. What I'm talking about still exists within that plane. We have life force energy, and this energy is being harvested, plain and simple. How is it being harvested? Some of us are hot, some of us are cold, some of us are dry, and some of us are moist. And this is the abyss, the abacus, the map. That's the terrain. Okay? This is the range of our energy. This is a map of our energy. And I'm going to show you how interesting this gets. We are this. This is what we are. Okay? We're a sound wave, a frequency that moves across the earth. Just like our hopes and prayers go up into the trees and turn into currency. Because that's a frequency, just like passion gets broken down and people can do what they choose with it. Could have a passion for vegetables and build greenhouses and feed lots of people, or just have a healthy body yourself. You have a passion for words and reading and learning, and turn that into something fabulous that you could share with other people, or you could let your desire for knowledge, due to the intentions, you can take that frequency, that color, that broadband, and do whatever you like within the space that you are allotted. Right now, on different dimensions, right? You can take a desire, and with that frequency that you're projecting it with, whether mutually beneficial or counterproductive, internalize it in yourself, from yourself in your house, and spread it to your children, to your neighborhood. Get on the internet and spread it all around the world, or jump on a plane, a train, an automobile, depending on your vehicle, right? Depending on your ability to project that tool and what you can do with it. The difference between somebody who knows about food and food as energy, and somebody who wants to feed their face. The difference between a fry chef and a gourmet chef at a 5-star. Food being alchemy. And how other people respond to that thing that you desire to do, whatever it is that your skill. Okay, so we're golden. Everybody's skills and traits and abilities, depending on their astrological makeup, allotted you a particular way of being. And through prayer and meditation, that went into the terrain. Energy never dies, it only transfers. And so generations of people that ate and slept and prayed and sang and danced and moved across the earth put that energy in here. And what are you? A representation of this. Yup. We are a representation of this, whether we know it or not. It still exists. Energy never dies, it only transfers. And what happens in the dark, what do they say, always comes into the light. It's a cycle of energy, like whispers in the dark, like shadows and light. The elusive stuff, that hot stuff, that funky stuff. Okay. So we got that sound wave, and think of body clock, think of hologram, and think of layers and thinking. Because that's what I'm doing, showing us layers and how one thing can break down into so many different variations. Which is the reason why we weren't meant to be segmented into one area of thought like we have been. And that's the reason why it's very easy to say, I don't get it. I don't get them, or I don't get that. I don't get it, as if it's a badge of honor that we don't get it. A decomposition of the composition. We are a composition of what the Creator made. And they say the Creator don't make junk. But if we believe that somebody else is Creator, or we don't appreciate the real Creator, the real person of this composition, then we fall for the tricks, for the tricknology, for the tricky knowledge. The Djed. We have a symbiotic relationship, just like we can still pick up on the synchronicity, is because the essence is alive. Everything is alive. The words are alive, and everything is moving. Everything is alive, in atoms. It's vibrating, okay? And we say we have this torus field. This breaks down into 4 fields. Your heart breaks down into 4 fields. And the heart is one of the things that move the intention. We are not all made the same. In the same way that we all have different zodiac signs, numerology is different. You can check that out in human design, that our energy frequency is different. Just like that example, when somebody comes in the room, it gets even more interesting when you look at the scientific probabilities of energy when you look at human design. Check out human design. So knowledge is golden, right? And we have this symbiotic relationship with Earth. Our ideas and thoughts and stuff get broken down into, I want love, buy a love song. You don't have to cultivate your own words and put your own work into the relationship. Our culture has told us not just that it's okay to listen to somebody else's interpretation of love and their song, what came from their essence and their heart, from their creativity, from their dark matter energy, but that we should model it, carbon copy it, ditto, and to ourselves, a mass production of someone else's interpretation of intimacy, as if that was supposed to be mass produced too. Just make all the relationships the same, all the women the same, and all the men the same. And if that's too narrow, we'll give you a couple of different options. And if anybody deviates from there, well, now there's going to be a problem. Now you're talking about the dark side of the moon. Talking about shadows and light. When your grandmama or your daddy cried out or knelt down and prayed, times are rough. That breath and that essence didn't just disappear. It went somewhere. Check out the story of Atlantis, where it talks about how when a decline of man came, and in Atlantis, and the brain started to shut down part of the brain. Some of us feel like this ties into the Tower of Babel, the Tower of Babel. and connecting, the more intricate story would be to breach the impairment of the ability to be able to communicate and connect with God. Tower of Babel. To have the ability to see, what is that eye doing on the dollar bill? This eye, like the eye of Zoran. Something is copying our Creator and the abilities of our Creator. Like a big bully, manhandling those of us who have the natural abilities, but it's using technology and technology. It is our blindsidedness that's, I'm saying again, the exact area where we fall short. Let me see if I can speed this along a little more. So a question to me is like an anchor, it's like a splinter, like the Matrix movie, a splinter in your mind, only it weighs you down, you know what I'm saying? But if you turn it the other way, a question mark, it's like an umbrella, shielding one, like it's like being shielded from the rain, shielding us with knowledge and pointing the way. So an arrow, symbolism is very deep. We look at symbolism all the time and we don't see. It'd be right in front of our face and we don't see the parallels of this world. And our words are whirls. They're whirlwinds. They cause trouble or fix problems. A double-edged sword. One man's problem is another man's solution. One man's God is another man's devil. So the end of times and the end of days is the beginning of a new time and a new set of days. And who are we looking at? Are we looking at is exposing things that were in the shadow and in the dark. And that is something that we want to continue to come, but something that has always been there. The drugs and the pedophilia and the lies and the theft of our very flesh. When you look at Social Security and straw man and the national debt and stuff. So we have this polarity. And how do they steal? How do they steal from us? Where is our accountability? Right? So I'm like, just told you what we are. We are crystals, right? And through our decomposition, we feed the trees. So we have this symbiotic relationship going on with the earth, with the terrain. And energy don't die. It transfers. So earth didn't forget who its people is. The energy around us didn't forget and knows more than we do because of the partial shutdown, what's going on, because it doesn't have the infractions, the infringement that we have being inside the flesh. They say the flesh is not party time, it's an infringement on spirit, because it imposes us to be indoctrinated with desire, with needs, with weaknesses. We get subjugated to the environment around us, subjugated to our lives, subjugated to need one another, but that can also be for, like I was saying before, spiritual development, or it could also be to get your butt. Either way you look at it, you know what I'm saying? But it's not always because somebody was bad. So how it works, right, is the polarity uses induction. Induction is the ability to copy excess energy. So we go into the 7 principles, which fall under the universal law, okay? We fall under the 7 principles. All is mental, right? The principles of truth as 7: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Okay? These are the principles, the 7 principles of our world. You can look at the, start to look at rays of light, okay, and the 7 chakras, and how, as an entity, it gets deep. Each one of these break down into a frequency, and that frequency is a whole being, and that being shares itself with each one of us. So as an easel, some of us are privy to particular colors. And if you're an artist, you know if you have certain colors, you can make all the other colors. What? If you have blue and yellow and white and red and black, you're good to go. You're gonna make your 7 rays. And more. And more. From the confines of your mind, from that dark space energy. All is mind. The universe is mental, right? That is the law. And as above, correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. That's what I'm saying. The nature, the intention. Like they say, money isn't bad. It's what people do with money that is bad. What they do with the currency and the relationship, the symbiotic relationship that we have with the trees, with the terrain, with the world around us. Now, if this isn't diluting something that has a severity, look how much we depend on the terrain and how much we were steered away from cultivating that relationship, that intimate relationship, and realizing how alive our world is while we watch people kill it. Our accountability. So, polarity is everything is dual, right? So we have all these laws and stuff, these rules, and if you look at the world, intellect, just like intellect is different, intelligence is different, IQ is different depending on where you are located within the world. How to use a computer is not considered intelligent when you need to find roots to be able to eat in the middle of a jungle, now is it? You'd be pretty stupid. So that's part of understanding IQ and intelligence, is realizing that it changes according to culture and according to situations. It's like a flame. This life force energy changes according to who's perceiving it, even. Just like people, a group of people watching one accident will have a different recall because they're looking with different eyes from different perceptions, with different things going on with them. So everything is moving. All things are in motion. So we take all this energy of us living and just how that is broken down. Our spirituality is broken down too. So religion, the concepts that we have of religion and the universal laws fall into different principles. Like they'll fall into principles in the Bible, or principles in the Quran, or principles in Hare Krishna. Other cultures' rendition of spiritual principles, it will fall into that. It will morph. Just like I was trying to think of the name of these videos and stuff, but I can't think of the name of them at the moment. Just like Jesus is Jesus, and that word will break down into other names depending on where you are located in the world and what time, space, and era that you pull this information from too. Horu and Horus, you know, and whether you have access to information from the Sibyls, you know, it's how things break down. It's also time, space, and what was taken from that segment or added, okay? So that can change. Taking something from a space obviously can change the whole way that it looks, right? Just like if you're at a party and somebody that you don't like, or you're in a room full of people, somebody you don't like walks in and changes the whole feeling. So that's how vibrant, how powerful energy is, right? That you could not have something there like the voice of the female principle because the energy is off balance, right? The energy has been off balance, and we had a predominantly lopsided interpretation of what we should be as a group of people when it comes to male and female principles. Even that's just one area. Not even when it comes to economics, right, or education, let alone our spirituality. And a lot of times there's enmeshment, and that stuff all gets mixed up together. But what is our intention? Right? And are we even aware of the energy that we're working with, and how volatile it is, how important it is, how alive it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. We're finding out about Atom, about dark matter energy. It's alive. All right? It's the stuff that we were afraid of is the very things that are probably going to be able to help us, even if it's just to understand them, you know, so that we know more clearly why we don't want them around, or the usefulness of them. So what's happening is, because of our fear and because of our indoctrination to be afraid of ourselves, to be afraid of our own information, to be afraid of our own stuff, to be inclined just to give the reins over to someone else and say, here, you take it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want the responsibility. And then if it all falls apart, I can just blame it on you and this hidden thing that I don't know about. And that's the way our system is set up. We're little children, and our parents will deal with it, will handle it. And I'm not saying that that was entirely right or wrong or good or bad. What I'm saying, you know, in every circumstance, what I'm saying is that the way that it's set up right now, we're definitely in trouble. That's clear. And yeah, maybe we could use some of that, and maybe we can't. But the first thing that we need to be able to do is be aware of it, right? Like the Tower of Babel. What I'm saying being totally elusive, because people are only using that 10% of the brain that we were told to use and indoctrinated with. Or can you get with me and understand what I'm talking about and glean it, because you're using other parts of the perception that we were told to shut out, to block off. The other sensory perception that turns on the color and turns on the light and makes those frequencies do other things and bring other dimensions to them. Like something round, being able to gleam it flat, or gleam it in different dimensions and aspects of that thing, okay? So in the same way, our essence, our hopes and dreams is that thing. It turns into those things that we purchase. We want good health. We will go buy vitamins and better food. Try to put ourselves in better environments. We will spend. Okay? We will compose something. We will come up with something to stop the decomposition, to counteract the pull. Our Creator made a composition. That would totally bite unconscious mind. My composition book, a composition notebook. Our Creator made a composition. You're that composition. Each one teach one a star. Each one privy to your own measure of essence and understanding. Your own fire, your own spark, your own life source energy. Life force. Part of a quadrant. You fit into the sector. If you study astrology, you can go in deeper and you got the symbology and that, and you can go into different dimensions in that. So let's move on. Induction. Check it out. Taking the things that we don't know. Induction is able to use the excess energy. Okay? The use of polarity. And it falls under cause and effect, which uses gender and mirroring. For every action, a reaction, an opposite. If we don't know that, an induction is using excess energy, how much excess energy is there? How much excess energy are we allowing to be used? Now, these are universal laws, like the laws of the Creator, the laws of this world. It is what it is. And it just so happens that other people have the right. They get the right away. If you're stupid and you don't know what it is and that extra energy is there, they can use it. It says it right there in the universal laws. Yep. Right there with our stuff. With polarity and cause and effect. Fitting right and snug in there with ebb and flow. And that's where the deferment is coming from. And it very much has to do with us not knowing who we are and our energy. Good day, bats. Good day, immortal. Good day, family. Yeah. So check this out, right? We are very, very powerful. These light rays, right, is Ray. We are the light code frequency. Israel. Is Ray. El as in Elohim. Right? Remember I told you that our ancestors embedded themselves in the light code frequency so deeply that they really don't lose their essence when we speak. No matter what language you speak, they don't lose their essence, and we happen to be speaking English, which works on that backwards thing. So you automatically have a one-up when it comes to mirror magic and grammar and glamour, because we use it all the time. They say it's a dead language. Well, it's keeping something alive, ain't it? It's the way you look at it. The way you look at symbols. The way you look at language. The way you look at essence and light code. The way we look at ourselves. Israel. Is Ray. Is Ray. Is Ra. Yeah. Is a light code frequency. What? Is a light code frequency the essence of God in His image? We are in the Creator's image. And the image of the essence and the image of the rays access to the rays by way of what I already told you. What? Your date of birth, your zodiac, right? Your numerology. Check out human design. Life force, 7-ray energy, your rainbow. The covenant, the rainbow. Jesus. Earth. The relationship between the sun and earth. Osiris, nature, Basset. Light code frequency holding on to feelings and emotions. The feelings and emotions of the earth. When we have the symbiotic relationship and our hopes and dreams for our children, for ourselves, for our ancestors, how many lived and died, hung from trees, didn't, were happy, had hopes and dreams, raised families, didn't know who they were. Like whatever scenario it was, they lived, they breathed air, they had an essence. And they say, what? The very rocks will cry out. The very rocks will cry out in order to give witness to the Most High. Our bones. How do you clean water? How do you distill water? I was looking up water distillation. One of the only ways that you can clean, one of the only ways that I know that you can clean fluoride out of the water, like heavy metals and stuff, is bones. Bones. Atone. Cleansing. All those hopes and dreams of our ancestors into the earth. And it didn't go anywhere. It's within us. It's within our blood, within our essence. You can have a child and not be around that child, and that child is very much, maybe looks like you, acts like you, sounds like you. You sound just like your mama. Boy, you just like your daddy. You was nowhere around your daddy. But, ergo, you are just like your daddy. You are just like your mama. Light code frequency energies. Broken down into frequencies. Light. Light. Red and blue, white light, and black light. And that would be breaking down into hot, cold, dry, and moist. Okay? Hot, cold, dry, and moist. Black light is cold. White light is hot. When you go in the shade, when it's hot, what do? You go in the shade. It's energy. It's alive. Our world is alive. If it's too cold, what do you want? You want some sun. You want to stand in the sun? White light is hot. You want to be dry. And you want to be moist. So you have the red and the blue. Okay? Red light is dry. And blue light is moist. And these are part of the sound wave. It's our energies as it moves across the earth. Like the monsoon energy that can be recorded in history, a record of our ancestral energy that the Vikings use and the Moors know to go from one side of the earth to the other. We govern these energies and atone. In the Bible it says, you have stolen my copper and my gold. It speaks of atonement. Look at these words. Atonement, to cleanse, to repercussion, to have repercussions. There's percussions. we're a lot of little, as Santos Bonacci says, little tom-toms. The sound wave is a lot of little tom-toms. You know, a lot of little tiny bang bangs that make a tom-tom, that make this percussion of sound around the world. This energy that we make, this cosine, this energy is alive. And we are different compositions, as I said, of our Creator, of our Mother and Father energy, of dark and of white and black energy, of light and dark energy, of those things that are manifested from the dark that come into the light with its own will. We're born with free will. We're born under the zodiac, which is the Torah, which is a will, which is our will. Okay, this wheel. And this wheel is the energy, that induction, because induction is the use of the excess energy, the ability to copy. Yeah, the ability to copy. Yup, metaphors. Excess energy by law. So when I'm laughing because I'm thinking the whitewashed television. The fact that every time you try to do something, that there's somebody there copying it and trying to redistribute that energy into another sector where you can't utilize it for yourself. The confiscation of energy flow, the hijacking of somebody's stream, of somebody's life force energy is what they do. The female spirit and the spirit of feelings, that part of us that feels, that part of our nature goes into the terrain, like the hopes and dreams of those who were living that are buried into the earth. And when they are reborn, this is a part of our symbiotic relationship that we have with the terrain that's being usurped by way of money and the coveting of money. It was actually the dream and our relationship between cultivating our spirituality and seeing ourselves in the essence of the Creator, which is the life force energy around us, and getting to know ourselves better instead of being overshadowed by the shiny-ish from Tinseltown, from the mall that's the wall in our minds. Because things come from dark space. It comes from the space in here. It's what we want. How we atone these spaces. Now, for energy, we are Israel. We have the tetragrammaton, okay, IHVH, which leads to number 26. We have Saturn's cube, and we have vortex math. Saturn's cube is dealing with this is backwards, but this is Saturn's cube, okay? And the way they do it is they use these numbers here, and no matter how they go, they break down into 15, and if you do numerology, 15 is 6. So you get the 666 after you get the 15s, and that's code. And then you get the vortex math, and that's where you get these vortex math doubled. So, okay. Our world consists of triangulating, okay? You have to triangulate. As above, so below, as within, so without. Broadband frequency. You have a 369. If you don't know about these things, check them out for your general knowledge so that you can see, get a look at what the energy frequency signature, begin to get a look at what it looks like, okay, from a different perspective than what you've been told ordinarily if you're not familiar with this. If you are familiar with it, check out the numbers 3, 6, and 9, which break down into each other. And three, 6, and 9 turn into the number 9 itself. And that's within this other thing, just like this box here. You take those same numbers from Saturn's cube, and then you do the vortex math. And so you have in here the triangle, right? 3, 6, and 9 is this triangle, and it's in here. Okay, it's in here. You got the 3, you have your 6, and your 9, and it's this little triangle in here, and that's your energy floating around. And then there's these other people in here, okay? That would be the 8 and the 1 and the 7 and the 2 and the 5 and the 4. That's a field, but this field is like wings around a triangle. It's like wings. And these numbers turn into 9s. So here you had Saturn's cube, which is the 666, but if you do the vortex math, you end up with 999 plus 9. If you add the triangle in the middle, if you just do the numerology on the 8 and the 1, the 6 and the 7 and the 2, the 5 and the 4, that's what I did here, right? 8 and 1 is 9, 7 and 2, 9, right? And 5 and 4, you have your 9. And then the 3, 6, and 9 is also 9. Now, I was thinking of upside down and backwards, right? So 1 is 666, atom, proton, neutron, and the other one is 999. What? Upside down and backwards. Then you have the tetragrammaton, which is Yah, they, Have, right? And so you have the ability to look at numbers and angles. So vortex math is like an angel with wings, and I finally understood when I see that symbol. You know, a light went off in my head, just like looking at the eye of the pyramid with, you know, with flames around it or wings. Like, I just want to take off myself. Like, wow, okay, I get it. Yeah, I get it, right? So we're looking at how to use this energy legally according to universal law is the ability to copy the other people, to copy their excess energy, because it's excess because they're not using it. While we were sleeping, while we were just giving our goodies away, not realizing our own value. Yeah, I've been watching the stuff happen to me for years where you have something and you're just developing it, or you don't realize that it's special. And somebody else tells you that it's not all that. Give that to me, and they take it, and and they soar with it, and it's fabulous, and it looks wonderful on them. And the only reason is because you didn't appreciate it yourself. You didn't appreciate that in yourself, but it looks good on someone else. And that's us and our gifts, that light that our Creator gives us, that be shining, that we keep giving away to people that are supposedly better than us always. How is that thing that came from the essence of me better in somebody else always? That's the weird stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that induction does. Okay? The ability to copy excess energy and utilizing the 7 principles. Utilizing that extra energy of polarity and the confusion that we have. Using alchemy, using negative energy, negative images, frequencies, situations to program low vibratory frequencies, light codes into us while we were sleeping. How many people we see get shot by cops? How many times you see somebody didn't make it, didn't get it, and somebody else is always better. Somebody else is always the hero. Somebody else always has their lineage intact. Somebody else always has the big house, and you in the ripped up pants and the shoes that can barely stand up. You looking at the floor and your shoes and your feet in the movies, instead of with your chest poked out, the hero badge on your chest, strong, knowing who you are with the frequencies, able to utilize that and get the healing frequencies from those images. We're talking about mirroring, right? Using images, even looking at the eyes and how, in order to see, we see stuff backwards. There's a relay that happens in our brains. Talking about the witness identification thing, that's one of the reasons is because some people's recall is not as fast as others. Some people can't recall as much as others. And we're all going to recall something different. How tall was the afro? How short was the afro? How light was light? How dark was dark skin? Did he have on blue jeans or dark blue jeans or black pants? Was his sneakers black or dark brown? Was it the way the street light was hitting? How fast the person was running? How much can you recall? How much of your own indoctrination went into that recall? Did you have something that infringed upon the way that you would perceive that situation? Did you have a prejudice, a bias prior to seeing whatever it was that was speeding so fast upside down in your mind, which had to flip right side up and then get past all the freaking previous biases that we are previously indoctrinated into to give a recall? And yeah, that's magic when you think of it. It's magic when you think of it. And it's crap when you think of how many people give the wrong recall, which is the reason why that happens to be a study when it comes to the court systems and witness identification, and how they're always looking to do a rehaul overall, and how that's one of the reasons why, they're always looking to redo and overhaul that whole situation, even when it comes to the sketch artist. You know, when they give the description of the whoever, and they have those little templates and stuff, you know. So, warped perceptions due to previous indoctrination. Now, remember, everything is a light code frequency, and we're talking about sound waves. Nothing is what it seems. This is the hologram. What is your interpretation? What is your indoctrination? What is your pay grade? What is your previous brush, you know what I'm saying, with that information? Like, you know? Because culturally, you could have been indoctrinated to Buddha and have no idea, you know, or Hare Krishna, and have no idea about anybody else's anything, because that's the way your perception has been warped and bent, right? This is flat. Ain't a picture of the world is flat. It's flat. It's flat. I'm looking at it. It's flat. I'm looking at this and it's round. Ain't it round? It's round. But I also know inside here, the other dimensions of what it is that I'm seeing also. You know, but when you're a child and you think of it as a child, you don't know. And you don't know that you're thinking as a child if you don't have access to adult stuff. See, we've been looking at child stuff, different levels of childish things. We've been looking at different levels of kitty toys. And somebody lied and said that the kitty toy was an adult toy. You know, and it really wasn't. So, looking at these different lights, right? That's what I wanted to say. Now, this is what I wanted to say. Warped. Warped. Remember, words are light code frequency, and they embed. They're a spiral. It's more than just a word. It's a frequency. It is freaking alive. What? Like the color. Like the color holds a frequency. Yellow. Okay. So a warped perception and the way we see things has to be a miracle, like warp speed, light code, folded space, like words that whirl. Words are worlds. They whirl, the grammar and glamour. Sound, wave. Catch the abracadabra. Folded space. Space, the final frontier. To seek out new life and new civilizations. To boldly go where no man has gone before. Can you hear the Star Trek intro? It all starts with a thought. Thought. Thor. Light code perception. Conception. Conception. Even your programming to look for who you want to conceptualize with. What kind of things you want to join forces with, that you want to contemplate on. Perception and conception. Okay? Decomposition and composition. Perception and conception. The djed and prayer. Numbers, yes. Each color has a number, and that number is a code and a frequency, like your name, you know, like that's what we are. We're vibratory frequencies stuck in a box, in a carbonated box. Our ka, our wherever we go, what we have access to, like I was saying. Your home, your children, your neighborhood, the whole internet and the world, or jump in your car, a train, a plane, you know, your automobile, and actually reach people that way. This vehicle, this starts here first. Okay? They say that your children can be compared to an arrow. People have children. Some of us still practice breeding. Some people grow their children so they can sustain the Aryan race, or make sure the Jews don't run out of better Jews. I don't know. Some people like to make sure that their light code frequency doesn't run out of stock. You know, they're and they make sure they do that professionally. You know what I'm saying? So these colors also break down into planets. Yeah. When we look at the tree of life, not just numbers, but yes, immortal. They break down into the tree of life, and it's encoded, right? So the moon, being a part of this whole symmetry of the orbs that are in our filament, in our water, in our inner space, right? Make you raise an eyebrow. Check out David Icke and his story about the moon, okay? The dark side of the moon, and that the moon is like a machine, and the moon, it actually reflects the earth. Did you know that the moon is reflecting images from off the earth? That's weird. And I was looking at reflection and the deferment, right? Check out Dan Winters and his account for the history of Earth, right? And if you look at the moon, how it has this Battlestar Galactica kind of theme to it, it's an eyebrow raiser. It's at least worth a Scooby snack. Huh? Huh? I don't think we should go in there, Scooby. Okay. Trees allow us to breathe. It's the land. Our dreams. Even when we dream, it's another space, right? They provide shade, and it's the breath. The deeds go into the earth. Even the seed, all those ancestors that are buried, all those things that were done that weren't seen or still in the shadows, all that stuff is still there. So energy never dies, it only transfers. Let us reflect on the moon, on the dark side of the moon. There's been a lot going on to counteract what needs to happen to correct the energy that's causing a decomposition of what the Creator set out for us to have. It's like a disease. And you can see it nipping and cutting away at everything, whether it's dirty water, low quality air, GMOs. Now we got 5G, which is causing people to get upset and shorten people's temperatures. It also is going to increase people's ability and risk for cancer. Along with the food, it's definitely, if we don't do something and you don't know what to do, it's a death sentence. Okay? Whatever mutation they were hoping for would have came with the genetic mutations or morphine they expect to happen with whoever took the vaccines. All those shots and stuff that they're giving to our children. Good day, beloved. I had a booster shot. I took all those shots when I was a child. We didn't know any different. I took all those shots. We had a booster shot. The weirdest thing, that thing disappeared. It stayed there. It was this round circle we had in our arm. And they gave it to us at school. It was weird. It freaking timed out. It looked like one of those freaking things in the movie, you know, but it just didn't have the lights on it. It was just our skin. And over the years, I started to see it fade away. And occasionally I would run into, you know, it was like the baby boomers, when they ask each other, well, are you a baby boomer? And they know the age range that they were in. Those people who were with me in our time, we had that little circle from that booster freaking shot. And none of the other, we don't get anything like that since. I haven't seen it. It was a circle shot that we got. And darn if that thing didn't just start to disappear and fade away over the years. You got the booster shot too? Yup, they hurt like the dickens. They hurt like the dickens. It's the weirdest freaking shot I ever heard of. Well, not exactly. They're really giving it good to those children now. And just get off of that. Okay, so the deeds go into the earth, into the shadow realm. And let's reflect on that. They want us to believe that our God is dead. But our God cannot be dead because those itches are breathing. They still breathing. My God is not dead as long as you're alive. As long as I'm looking at your behind, kill, steal, and destroy, my God ain't dead, you idiot. Because you're still sucking up our air, our essence. And guess what? They can't live without us because that's what we are, and that's what all the running is doing. Can't live with them, can't live without them. Womb spaces. Womb men. People who carry life in a light code frequency. Men who are more inclined to be in tune with their female and male side of self. People who have more balance. Womb spaces. People who protect womb spaces. People who are not afraid of their maleness and not afraid of their femaleness either. Who want healthier balance and homeostasis. Who want to use their light code frequency in a more therapeutic, beneficial manner. So God, looking at us acting like dogs and using our lower frequency of the light code spectrum, some of us wonder, since we're all acting like dogs, does that mean that there is no God? And that's my answer. No, God is everywhere. It's all around us. It's for us to realize and to be able to direct the energy. We're just not doing it. We haven't seen ourselves. We don't know ourselves yet. But we are waking up. This is not a one-man job. It's all of us directing this energy. That's what we used to do. That's what we did. And that's why it takes so much interference to defer the energy. So remember that when we're looking at words and inner space and space, the final frontier, and looking at warp speed and looking at the way that light hits our eyes and flips, looking at upside down, flipped upside down, that saying that everything is flipped upside down and backwards. Okay? And how we are energy, how we are the light code frequency, how we are the help that we want to see, the light code frequency from within. And that's the deferment, you know. Cathode and diodes, negative and positive energy. Female. Electrons, neutrons, and protons. A composition to compose energy. To compose, to suppose. Okay. So let's look at this induction. The ability to copy the excess energy. And look at our mental indoctrination. Polarity and rhythm, the law of neutralization, the use of the pendulum, the ebb and flow, counterbalance. The measure of one swing to the right is the measure of the same swing to the left. That's counterbalance. And so when that doesn't happen, Well, we're not aware that we're supposed to catch the ball. Well, we're not aware that we're off key. Well, we're not aware you have stolen my copper and my gold and set them off tune. Even the sound of the music is set to another tune. We atone. That's where we were. I'm glad I didn't end this. Quantum D-wave computers. Satellite brain reading technology. The Vatican, witches and warlocks. The church, deferment. The television. Voice to skull technology. And the Iran, they're hitting me hard right now. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I had the coughing, and then all of a sudden I started shaking. And I'm able to tell a lot now the correspondence between the coughing and something hitting me. So it's taken everything for me to put this in a space where I can deal with it, because I can feel it on my body, and then I can't lash out. And Lord knows, the Creator knows I want to. I really want to get relief. I want relief. I want vindication. But I think about all those of us that were hanging from trees and stuff like that, and I know that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, our God. And for lack of better words, yeah, it is deep, very, very deep, deep like the earth. The terrain that we live on that brings these things back to us so that we can be vindicated. We are the way to purify. We are instruments of purification. That's how the earth gets clean. We cry out and we pray. Our mothers and fathers, they make love. We already had the symbiotic relationship with earth. We eat the food. We breathe the air. We drink the water. And we give back to it whether we like it or not. It's all going back into this filament, this circle, this environment, this torus, right? This world where we use these light code frequencies and stuff like that. We're even still very much connected to our ancestral lineage by way of blood. Some of us are what they call blessed, right? So things follow us. And we can see the remnants of that, whether we want to look at the interpretation of that through spiritual lines, looking at religion and how religion breaks down through the 4 quadrants of the world. I already went through that. So you can find a religious path to understand spirituality, or you can find other paths. What I propose that they're doing right now, what I know they're doing because I've been dealing with it, is just like the creators, people are privy to information that they've been copying, like the Santa Claus thing. I'm plugged in naturally. Our Creator just gives me stuff, and I have to sort it out and balance myself with other people to be able to give it back. Also, with all the spirits that come in, I have to be able to siphon them out. That's a big thing that I do, and a large reason why I don't make myself as accessible as other people is because stuff be like, was it like the neutron? It sucks, it like comes to me, you know, and it feels really like, ugh, I feel sick and stuff. And then I go in spiritually, using my own alchemy, whether it's, I've learned to use crystals and sound and prayer and mudra and visualizations, even clothing and craft, things to be able to calm my nerves, making my own things to keep with me, or the studying that that I get into, whatever it is that the Creator tells me, gives me within my Akash, that's what I have to sort out, right? This energy. So I learned to deal with the energy. And this culture where we didn't make a room for people like me because they were exploiting that. They were using induction. And there's some other places where they do allow for their spiritual people and they're shaman outside. There's people outside of the church. They're healers and stuff. Outside of that facility. Excuse me. To be able to help steer the culture. So in the Iran war, they had voice-to-skull technology where they had the voice of God. The voice of God technology. Check that out. They told these soldiers, I'm God, put down your weapons. And these are very religious people. They put down their weapons and they lost that. From inside their brain, the technology is there to even use it in the grocery stores to suggest to people to buy and purchase certain foods. They even have the technology in New York. Go ahead, check it out. They use it for advertising and stuff. Well, they'll go into the part of your brain which can be suggested to. Check out human design. Some of us are open there and just like open spaces, to people and planting ideas and suggestions into us because it's not your fault. It's naturally just the way that you are, just the way that you're built. Just like a rape victim, in some cases, responds to penetration and will feel guilt and shame. They have this induction set up for us to feel guilt and shame over things that are happening to us that we have no control over at all. But we think we do, but we actually didn't. Because it's voice to skull freaking technology. They're taking, can you imagine these families and all energy doesn't die, it only transfers. You do all this dirt. You kill children. You have sex with children. You have sex with animals. You kill people. You lie. You steal. You build a whole civilization on top of another civilization that you didn't give credit for, but yet you cry about plagiarism. You look in people in their face. How do they do that? How do you look people in their face and their eyes with your nose up in the air like you really deserve to be sanctified? Clinging cymbals and sounding brass, said I and I. Said the Creator. This is right there in the Bible. They're like clinging cymbals and sounding brass. And the Bible is another word for cord and rope. It's all tied together. How do they do it? How do they still look at you? Because they're using the deferment and they're using the induction. They're taking and putting their stuff on to you. You feel it. You accept it. You take on those spirits and those frequencies and vibrations that they're projecting through the movies. You want to feel what it feels like to kill, steal, and destroy. You want to be the big guy, the big kahuna. You want to be the pimp. You want to be Daddy Warbucks. You want to be the one with the gun. You want to be deep inside the one who can have the fun. Through our desires, they steer the energy. Through induction. Through our excess energy. While you're being that, there's nobody being the healer, the humble one, the one seeing. There's nobody being the one that's getting it up the rear, doing double time trying to get people. Well, now we are. Now we are. If you're here right here, you're definitely doing it. Okay. So just like they took those soldiers in Iran and gave them a frequency, told them to put down their guns and that they were God, you can also give people frequencies and stuff like that. And other suggestions, which is being done even in advertisement. I mean, it's so good, you can't help but use it. So they're even using it to get people to buy freaking blue jeans. What? It's apparent. Voice to skull, technology, voice to God, weapon. Induction, the ability to copy excess energy. Mental induction. Look at the images. Look at the images that they've cast and they portrayed around the world of the different people. And everybody has been duped, because if it's a small percentage, like 1% of people pushing their thought, their light code frequency, indoctrinating everybody else, infecting everyone else with their low vibratory grade frequency. While they're being illuminated, a Luciferian, while everything's being whitewashed. And by way of our greed, the 7 deadly sins, our wanting, our desires, by way of our low grade frequencies, that we haven't checked, that within our culture, it's okay. You're jealous? No problem. Just go and work harder and buy something bigger and brighter, and then put it in front of her face and it'll be better. You won't feel bad anymore. That's a lie. You'll need something bigger and shinier every time. Oh, forget that. Just shoot them down. I don't got to go get nothing bigger or shiny. Just freaking snuff them out so I don't have to see their light at all. They're chopping up my feed? Yeah, I bet they would be. They're getting chopped up pretty bad. Yeah. So we are a light code frequency. I really hope that you got the majority of this message. You know, I had the slamming garbage cans again, and the coughing. And that weapon has died down, so that's not as bad. Although I can still feel the flickering in my heart. You know. And while they're walking around the earth and somebody else's children and wife and husband, like they didn't do anything at all, I'm the one who has eyes to see that they're killers. Here we go with the coughing again. I can see them. It's my journey to tell you that I can see them, my brothers and my sisters who have children and mothers and brothers and sisters who have other people that are attached to your light code frequency. Some of them don't even like you. They might be part of the gang stalking and even want you dead. But it's still a duty as a higher vibratory frequency being to be. I'm a light code frequency being, and I have the right to be. Because if we don't know that we can, that's where the induction comes from. We're told to stay in our place, to be small, to not be accountable, to hand the reins over to people who are all-knowing. Don't think, let us do it for you. But if you can look around, you don't have to really think hard to see that they done mucked up the place. And they're sick. It's our duty. That's what a high vibratory frequency being does. That's what you are. Can't be any different, because that is the frequency. That's the truth. And they'll try to knock you down and make you feel stupid just for wanting to be helpful, for wanting to be useful, for thinking differently, for being different. But look what their the same is. Look what their the same does. It holds all that stuff that's so painful into place. They're actually funneling in their nasty crap that they're stuck with into us, for us to filter, because we are the earth. We are the gold. We are the jewels. Crystals I use to help me deal with this nasty freaking energy. It doesn't die. It changes. It changes according to intent. What do you want to do with the energy when you see it? Fire. Burn a house down? Or cook a meal? Cleanse your thoughts and feelings and emotions. Get rid of some bad feelings. Or make a weapon. I think it's tricky. Am I making the weapon to protect myself from those people who just like to kill, steal, and destroy? And they're so sick, they're gunning for you? Or you sit there and twiddle your thumbs and hope that something happens? Do you know that, like Marcus Garvey was saying in The Whirlwind, he knew that energy never dies, it only transforms. He knew that the energy was alive. It's time to turn it on. Ion, on. Turn it on. Dark matter, energy, go! What? Reflect on that. You don't have to, I don't have to know everything. I just have to know I want to be better. I just have to know how I want to be better. That's a start. I want to be better next to you. I want to be better when I'm a part of the all. I want satisfaction. I want that easy feeling. I want satisfaction. The way that I do that is knowing that I'm part of the all right now. So while they're busy killing and stealing and destroying, I'm busy building, because I know my energy never dies. It's only going to transform. So they try to copy the excess energy, and everything they do, they duplicate it. And in addition, the reason why they can look at you in a straight face is because they're wizards and sorcerers and doing all kinds of dark magic, things in hidden places, sacrifices and stuff, where they're transmuting their nasty, corrupted energy onto you. Even if it's just like part of the gang stalking aspect is to keep people in a lower vibratory frequency by way of frequency in general. Handheld weapons, sound, using vibrations on a lower scale of the frequency to keep you in a certain mindset, because it works with your water. Your water of your body holds in information. It holds in frequency. It causes dis-ease or happiness. Causes a different kind of homeostasis within the body. So we weren't even looking at this whole thing the way that it really is. You know, as organic computers, as organic beings, as organic people being. As computers, God being like, our creator being like a computer. Remember that mentalism. All is mind. The universe is mental. It all starts with a thought. Think of Thor. So keeping people in a low vibratory frequency, they can't elevate. So the whole thing, part of keeping us in a world like it's 1999, is keeping the frequency in a space where we're not elevated mentally, spiritually. It's prejudice, jealousy, greed, envy. All that stuff is being cultivated. And we keep co-signing it. And if we don't co-sign it, they're actually putting it in the body. They got this black goop. We have other entities here. Or we're looking at entities different too, like outer space is inner space. Microscopic organisms like Starship Troopers and the bugs could actually be a situation when we look at the parasites. Just like The Walking Dead could also be a depiction of the parasites problem that we're having right now. How you look at the flesh-eating diseases and stuff that are happening, and Morgellons. You might as well say that that's a lesser version of the disease that they have in Russia, of the flesh-eating disease that came from the drug addicts that were shooting up some kind of drug that resembles heroin, and it's cheap, so but it rots the flesh. Look at the alchemy. Whatever they were shooting themselves up with was rotting out the flesh in their body. It was killing their cells. It was killing the light. It was sucking out their chi, energy, their light code frequency, their life force, taking away their purpose, or draining their purpose into one area, which was death. To the point where you started to see these results right away. They look like The Walking Dead. You can actually see some of the flesh eating into the bone. Now look at Morgellons and some of the pictures and stuff that you see there. Look at the vaccines, the diseases that are being manufactured. Look what they did with the syphilis experiment in Tuskegee, Alabama. Yes, I was just reading something. They're going hard right now because they have to keep their energy and this low vibratory frequency. That's the only way that they can't reach the higher ones. So that's where continuing to try to usurp the energy of the Creator's chosen people, God's chosen people, real people, not the ones in God's we trust, but the ones they usurped with the dollar bill and tried to copy the actual relationship that's very real, the symbiotic relationship between Earth and the terrain and the people that are part of the filament, a part of what goes into the air, a part of the prayers. We hope for it, and the Djed, through the womb space, we birth those things into existence. And that's how our Creator gives it back to us. That is part of our covenant. If you need it, voila, she births it out. We birth it. Even if you want to look at it in a more embedded and fractionalized manner, which you can do also. Whether you create something, some kind of technology, or you birth and create a person who can manifest the idea to create some kind of technology. So if you look at us as a commodity, as a way of exchange, we're a lot more valuable than we thought we were, than we were led to believe, than we were led by the nose to believe. And these people are using wizards and stuff to keep us feeling very naughty and low grade about ourselves through images, through atmosphere. Why are there so many sirens and helicopters and noise? The noise pollutants is another attack on your genia code. because noise causes dis-ease. That red siren, and this is the weird thing, right? So we got all the Wi-Fi towers and all this stuff. Somebody thinks they're a smart guy. They think they're a smart ass going along with it, but yo, you're being infected too. And then, if you think you've got some tool that will shield you, you've got to think of the energy that the whole situation came from, the source energy of that whole situation, of you pirates out there killing each other, calling yourself gang stalkers. Your own very nature says that you're willing to do the lowest thing just to stay alive. So you can't possibly really trust each other. I mean, what kind of things do you have to do to trust each other? Is it like that Illuminati stuff that we be hearing about, the stories where you do all kinds of interesting sexual things to each other? Blackmail each other, have parties and stuff. Makes you do a lot of little naughty things. So you can stay in a little group. You can have one up on each other. Just pile it all on. And then the priest, I'll tell you, he'll vindicate you. Go in a little box and he'll say, go in there and say a few Hail Marys because you've been doing our job for us. You know what I'm saying? Holding down all those people. So we got you. Go in here, say your Hail Mary. Hail Mary! Forget the Sibyls and the Essenes and the women and put more energy on that subliminally. Hail Mary. And then he'll take the little prayers and the little stuff over here. Kill a nun. Chop up a baby. Drink some blood. Throw some symbolisms over here. Build a monument. Use some sacred geometry. Oh, they got plenty of dough. They have plenty of currency. They have a never-ending supply of the kind of things that make it shiny, makes it look real pretty. So we even invite it to ourselves because it looks so pretty. That monument, that music, that whatever it is that they got because they have the monies. We covet after that stuff. We say we got to have it because we're indoctrinated with it. We'll go get it for Valentine's Day. Go buy the song. Go get the chocolate. Go get the music. You know, go get whatever. Go get the clothes. Go buy the jewelry. Did you know that there's little Africans being killed and mutilated over chocolate? Really? Did you know that there's children being mistreated because of diamonds? They're calling them blood diamonds? Really? Did you know that box of chocolate that you bought is not even made in America? It was made in China? So 1 million over, what, 5 million boxes of chocolate sold and not one penny. Not one penny really back in the American pockets because we didn't help make that box or the chocolates. But we're buying it. None of us with the job. See, a lot of our jobs and stuff were outsourced. It's all part of the control. Because we need, if you can control the resources, check out The Economic Hitman. Stories from an economic hitman. Rigging the game. Books like that. Where they cause a problem and then come in and say, well, we have the solution. You know, when it comes to PTSD and mind control and people being in dire situations, they can know you caused the freaking problem. And it got so bad that they're happy, part like Stockholm, they're happy to see you come with the solution, knowing that you're the one who messed them up. Thank God you came. Because they're suffering so freaking bad. Only some of us are able to see that stuff and with a scolding face be like, I don't like that. That's not going to fly with me. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I got you. I picked up on your frequency and I don't like it. But she will be that one person, or he will be that one person that's isolated that nobody wants to listen to. Because they question things. They say that their person is difficult. Better find a way to get along with difficult. I mean, to find a way to get ourselves in the orbit, in our natural orbit that we were supposed to be in, and not the one they placed us in. Where they assigned us positions. We didn't assign these positions. We see their appointed positions as priests and ministers, and look what's happening. We got organ harvesting, pedophile rings, drug cartels, pharmaceutical companies that have more power than freaking governments, and banking rings, banking families. We have families running things. And then if they give the American public, if they give the public, the world public enough, we'll shut up about it. Because we got to eat. I want some hopes and dreams. Is dreams money? I can buy my dreams with that money. I can sustain my dreams with that money. Give me the money. Show me the money. Follow the bouncing ball. Follow the bouncing ball. That's what they say to them all. Follow the bouncing ball. Show me the money. The trees, the hopes and dreams. The root of it all. The root of it all. Good day, beloved. So even to clean the water, you need the bones. And the very earth shall cry out. It says right there in the Bible. Energy never dies. It only transfers. And the essence, even Marcus Garvey could tell you, the essence will be in the whirlwind. In the Bible, it speaks of the children under the altar. It speaks of our martyrs. You can spit out a child and they'll be just like you. That child just like you. Was nowhere around. You did that same mess too. To that girl over there. Cleaning these things out. Family curses and things that they put on us through images. You can only be the butler. Be all that you can be. But you can only be a soldier. Oh, look, now you can be a president. It's one right there. I see one right there. Black people ain't doing too good. Melanated people ain't doing too good. But I see one right there. Look at Oprah. It's one of the most richest people in the world. Shoot, I got a cousin that lives in a trailer park. What more can you ask for? The images. All of those segmented people are bad. The whole entire group, just nada. Sure of it. I'm well, beloved. I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there as much as I can with what's been going on. Our energies are off because of what we've been taught to feed each other. It's hard for us to look at each other with respect and joy and hope. I want for you what I want for myself is something that you're hearing in a polygamy community. I want for my sister what I want for myself. It takes a village to raise a child. It's still going to take the village to raise a child, because wherever the child goes is still the freaking village. You can't run from it. We're still utilize each other whether we like it or not. Like Nellie Fuller was saying, you know what I'm saying? When we do something together, that it should be for more purposeful reasons. And it would cut down on the amount of infractions that we're causing. We're inflicting each other with because we're sick. They're actually using sciences that we know not of, that we're still in the dark about, to control us. And these are real technical sciences. Can make you buy a pair of jeans. Can make you put down a gun. Can make you go in a movie theater and do all kinds of other crazy stuff. Or a Moss or some of the other MK patients you see around. And we want to listen to the next thing that Trump said, or the latest movie or television show, what happened on World Star. But we don't know about how these things are infringing upon our freaking psychological well-being. And how everything starts with a thought. How that is the war. The battle is in the mind. Mind you. Pay attention. It's in the words. It's in the essence. It's in us. We are the essence. We are the Essenes. The words are worlds. They whirl. They unfold. They're magic. They're embedded. You take them and they take on different forms and shapes. Torus fills. They're a tetragrammaton. Yahweh. Light code frequencies. They are our higher self. And when they get implanted, that's when we start to segment them. When it hits the soil. Is it fertile ground? Is it rocky? Is it sinking sand? Is it sunny? Or is it dark? Is it moist? Or is it hot? What quadrant are you coming from? Are you a Pisces or an Aquarius? What traits are you carrying with you? Dog? Or are you being God? What reflection, what side are you showing me? Are you the dark side of the moon or the sun? What reflection are you giving me? We break down. We break down to build up. We fall down and we get up. Fred Hamilton. I just love all his songs. Okay, so, yeah, basically, I really wanted to, get into that. And yeah, so part of the new frontier is sounds, frequencies, and vibrations. Getting rid of that. And the same way they put it in there, you can get rid of it. Like in the church where they put the hands on the head and anoint you with oil. And they have the music going. And then the prayers are going. And they get you ready. It's like making love. A good loving making session. Only you're corresponding that energy, your chi energy, your kundalini energy with something else. To attune. To balance out with something else. Which is your spiritual energies. You know? So you got the music going, you're all emotional, you've seen other people do it, you know what to do, you know what's acceptable. Take the oil out and they slap the oil on your head and make the cross. You got all these frequencies and sounds going and you're ready. and they slap the hand on your head. Ah! In the name of law! I was one of those who didn't want to go down. They put the hand on my head. Go down! No! I ain't falling out. You ain't getting me falling out. And they try to make you feel guilty because you didn't fall on the floor and pass out. And I'm looking around. I see the ground is fertile for some stuff here. But I don't think I'm gonna plant that much. Be a little shade over here. Just check y'all out. Be a little sunny. Yeah. So in the same way that was happening, and you can get a spiritual release, it's all frequency and vibration. And the same way you can be indoctrinated with some stuff you don't want. R. Kelly. I know some of you are thinking of that, right? Now you know you liked that R. Kelly when you was with the person that you loved. In that dark room. But the essence of his being, he was dealing with some other stuff, and that was him. It's raising our Kundalini energy and our vibratory frequency. Raising these energies is part of the reason why we're here at this time to do that, to be responsible for ourselves and take the reins back. I like what we're doing. The combination of the work that was done before us from our ancestors. People like Dr. Francis Scott Wessling and Dr. Blair. And many, many other scholars. Many, many other scholars who built the road to where we are today. We must return to the higher frequencies. That's what we are. When the children come out, they're on those higher frequencies until we indoctrinate them with other frequencies from their environment. Those sirens and stuff that we hear on top of the fire engines and the police cars, the ambulances, that's to send us purposely a signal to be alarmed, alert that something is happening. So we'll get the blip out the way. And every time they go to and fro, they have this one particular sound. Now, we haven't evolved enough to change the freaking sound. You can still have another sound that does not have that effect on the freaking human body. But we still know something is up. Because it's on a higher freaking frequency. Just make the equation, okay, that we've evolved. And so now we're going to hear ding, ding, ding. But that person who's injured or whatever problem or issue that is could be freaking 10 miles away. And you're going to hear that siren. Freaking 10 miles. All kinds of freaking combobulation. Is that a word? Combobulation. Discombobulation. I like combobulation better. Combobulation. All kinds of disturbances. Just till they reach their destination. But it could have been a different frequency in order not to disturb the rest of the populace. You got the hybrid cars right now. I heard from a blind man that you can hardly hear those as much as the other ones. So why not change the noise population, the noise pollutants? Because it's one of the tools that they use to war against us. Because frequency is so freaking powerful. That's why they changed the frequency of the music. That's why the music is so important. That's why copyright stuff, as we're going into this new era with sound, frequency, and vibration. Sound being the new frontier. Everything being sound, even the frequency weapons that they're using to torture targeted individuals who could fall under human trafficking. And if you look at the intel that they're using to capture criminals, if you look at the statistics that technology is being used to call forth numbers on our children so they can be classified as criminal behavior miscreants before they finish junior high school. Statistics, numbers, just number. Just a number and something to infect, to inject with their freaking emotions that they should be carrying around. Their guilt, their shame, their lust, their hate, their envy, indoctrinated us with. And we're supposed to want to keep it. We co-sign now. We want to keep it. I don't want to see you overthrown to not see this crap ever happen again. Try to come up with a different whole system so that we have the less likelihood of seeing this behavior arrive again. No. I want to overthrow you so that I could sit in your freaking place. I like the way that looks. I like what you got. I want it. I like that power I see you wield. Where you got them people on their knees and they're just begging for 3 hots and a cot and the things that they need to survive. They can't even go on vacation. I want that power. Looks pretty good to me. That's what they say God is like. White privilege. Well, all right then, give me some. But wait. What is this stuff falling from the sky? Is that chemtrails? What the heck is that chemtrails? Well, wait. What is this? What do you mean mandatory vaccines? Mandatory? You said your child got Alzheimer's from taking a shot and I can't say nothing? Got me sounding like some nigger now. What you mean I ain't got no rights? Gosh darn it, this is white privilege. You've been whitewashed by the Luciferians. You've been hit. And you too. I ain't responsible for nothing. I can sit right here and not do nothing. It's their job. They're responsible. It's them. They done did it. I'm just a black person, just a melanated person. I can't do anything at all. I am not responsible. I have no power. It's all you. You. You're responsible for me, and look what you done did to me. I'm just a wayward child. Just a wayward child. Hey, can I shine them shoes for you, mister? Because I ain't good for nothing else and don't want to be responsible for nothing else. By gosh, you was God. God Almighty. Look at there. Sitting there big in the White House. Finally got a black dude in there, you know. Give me anything if you just put your mind to it. God bless America. You want to hear something funny outside of this? They got the dog hooked up to the satellite brain reading technology. So I could sit here and I play games with it, right? Remember, I'm your laughter facilitator, and this is a really twisted world and some crazy stuff going on. pretty much finished with the talk that we had about deferment and induction and currency and how we're light. Now, there's times when I just want to say, I want to be crazy. I don't want to have it figured out. I don't want any of this to be true. It's just too phenomenal, you know? To be inside of a freaking sci-fi movie and have it unfolding and you're like sitting there by yourself. It's just nuts. It's like, can I at least have a gun, please? You're inside of this. Yeah. Can I at least have something to defend myself with? No? Oh, okay. You're telling me that the fact that I smell good is going to make this whole... All the zombies are just going to walk past me. All the zombies are just going to walk past me like they don't even see me. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. But they see me. I be going through. But I ain't dead yet. And very aware of the powers intensifying in my connection with my Creator. And that being more of my priority than anything else. Because of the sickness and the devastation that I see. No other way out but in. And that being what we are. That be what I'm trying to get. If that's going to be the last thing that I feel like that I'm connected to. I cultivate that now. So this chick across the street over there, can't touch her, right? I mean, I can. That is my choice. Now, I was saying how, like every time I make an update here, they tweak something there. But sure that I don't pay attention too much, because then that would be my own fault. So if you're trying to tune it out, play games with this stuff, you start doing it when you're a targeted individual, right? Which falls under the human trafficking thing. Because it's the way that we think and our uniqueness that they're coveting. Some of us even come up with music that they steal, or technologies that they steal, or ways that we think that they covet, all kinds of stuff they just take, okay? And there's nobody there. They're so cocky with it that nobody else sees it, that they can just take, and that's what they do. And they leave you there with a wet butt and a stupid look on your face because they know that you can't do anything. So what happens was, I play games, not really playing games, but sometimes... Hey, Sweet Pea.
Hi.
What?
Say hi.
Oh, hi, Sweet Pea. I'm almost finished. So sometimes what I'll do is, I won't even say her name. I'll just say the mean things that I like to say about her in my head. And then I'll hear the dog barking. They got the dog hooked up to the Neuralink. I know they do. Okay? Because it's cold. And so if it's your job to shadow somebody, right? And it's cold outside, wouldn't you start getting pissed off after a while, even if you were getting paid for it? Like, I really don't know where her primary motivation is for how much she likes to stay on it. But that woman hates me. I don't enjoy her at all after the years of realizing who she is and what she does, right? So in addition to the coughing, like she's the marble man, and the increased activity outside, which is parallel to me, there's the slamming of the garbage cans and the other activity that goes on, right? So if I think nasty things about her, for instance, it's gotten really bad. I open my eyes from my dream state and the dog is barking. I begin to start my day. I hear her coughing. So when winter set in, it's a little harder to keep up with that activity like you like it, because it's not as warm. And yeah, I noticed, and part of it is for them to notice, right? So at one point I was saying, this is months ago, she's a bitch because she's being a guard dog and paying attention to the, the play on words and stuff like that, and how her low state of self-esteem and stuff like that, and the jealousy and envy. I was feeling all these things, and I'm listening to another targeted individual speak about their Neuralink experiences with people in their neighborhood and how they're doing the exact same thing, making sure that the people that are sharing her Neuralink with are making sure that she sees them in order to agitate her. Like they want her to go off, knowing that they're inside here. So she has to listen to them and has to see them. They're trying to make her jealous. They're trying to make her uncomfortable. She's sharing thought waves and patterns. They're repeating things that she's doing in her home, right? And then she's seeing them. They're agitating her, just like the woman is coughing and doing all kinds of the bull crap to make it known, well, I can see what you inside your house. I've invaded your privacy. I'm torturing you with weapons. I'm shadowing you, and you still can't do anything. And if you flex, we'll have you right where we want you, in the hospital, jails, institutions, and death. So what you want to do, bitch? That's basically the vibe that I get every day, all day long, from these street performers and gang stalkers. And this woman it's just really, the feelings that I have are not good. And they try to make you feel because you're not forgiving and you're not loving that you're not evolved spiritually. But they purposely do things with noise campaigns and Nazi paperclip type tactics where it's psychological warfare and terrorism, where you can't, it's very difficult to stay on a higher light frequency. So they're doing it on purpose to keep us, like if I am 1 for 1,000, say a diameter, right? Say just like the cell towers, if I'm the piece that flushes out the negativity to recycle our energy and broadcast our creator's messages for a particular radius, say it was 1,000 people, or say it was 144. If I had one more with me, if I had a husband or a mate with me that believed in the same things and we were evenly yoked spiritually, and we could carry the 144 as the prophecy stated, that our frequency would be able to hold, to be able to cleanse that negative energy away so we could get our party started in a more therapeutic manner and a more moralistic way, where it was mutually beneficial, where we weren't spreading around this sickness and disease and these thoughts and stuff that we're getting, where people are trying to keep us in a space like it's 1999, using time travel and technology to hold a frequency into place like it's a skipping grid on a record. Space-time. Why does Jay-Z look like that time travel video that I saw with Jay-Z? When I think of media and I think of our predominant stars and I think of the glitches and stuff like Bernstein Bears, and Forrest Gump, the fact that we know Forrest Gump, the fact that TV shows and things like that are predominantly part of our culture, right? They're like little notches that hold space-time. And we notice these little notches that hold space-time are being affected, right? That's what we say, we're getting the glitches. Like glitches in the Matrix, like the Matrix movie with the cat, right? It's important to have control over those people and indoctrinate those people. Wouldn't you think? When you look at all the disclosure and stuff from all the movies and things, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and some of the movies that he played in. to get those people who would predominantly be in the public eye on board with the time traveling stuff to help maintain the glitches and the faux pas within the system. Yeah, so we're quantum. There's more than one world. Actually, we're being shifted between different dimensions, different worlds. You know, I for a fact know, like I'm having more mishaps now than I ever did. I'm not even mention them. I get up sometimes and I'm like, okay, it's a different world where we come from. You know what I'm saying? Again. Yep. I find stuff that was not, I didn't know where it was. I know I looked for it, honey. I know because I went through the emotional rebound of not knowing where those particular things were. Phone numbers, crystals, locks, a book, something I wrote down, looked everywhere, couldn't find it, had the emotional frequency and the rebound. Dealt with the fact that I couldn't find it, even to this point where I was like, oh, probably switch times again. Got to the point like that. Go to sleep, wake up, open the freaking thing, boom, right there. Oh, okay, I know where we are now. Total, we're not in Kansas anymore. We done switched again. My lock was purple, now it's blue. A lock that I use for, just crazy stuff. Repetitively. So I'm just telling you about the stuff that I'm catching, not about the stuff that I'm not catching. I don't claim to know everything. Like the implants and stuff that I have, that they're being able to use. I don't know where I got them from exactly, because the last time, it was been years since I've been in a hospital like that. And I know I've been in the program for since I was a little girl, but I'm pretty sure that I had upgrades and that I was one of the people who tried out the newer systems, that they tried it out on me first. Or have, because the stuff that people are talking about now, I've already been going through for years. I just didn't realize it. I thought I was crazy. I was told I was crazy. Shut up. Take your disability check, sit down in the corner, and be quiet. And that's what they wanted me to think. I was just a crazy lady. Just another crazy melanated person. I have no worth at all. No accountability. Social security. Your social security is to take this check, sit down, and shut up about what you see. And I didn't know at the time that there were other cultures that had other people that they called spiritual healers and shaman and things like that, gurus and all this different stuff. That was a no-no. Stupidity is a must. And conformity. Intelligence? No, not unless you're one of them and they're going to exploit it. And you're the part that they want. I'm not condoning any of the regular stuff. The regularly scheduled program isn't. I'm not condoning stupidity for us. I'm not condoning racism. I'm not condoning ignorance. I'm not condoning sexism or materialism. Only a light code frequency. I'm just being obedient to what our Creator told me to do, because that's all I've got. I haven't gotten one penny for doing this. I've gotten a lot of headaches and pain, a lot of tears, a lot of suffering. But also, oh man, I've gotten a lot of joy. Thank you, beloved. I'm really still trying to figure a lot of things out. There's so many strange puzzles. I feel like I'm in a foreign land. I don't understand some of the light code frequencies that I'm getting. I don't understand going to a place for self-help and having people look at you in their eyes and talk about promises and God and change and love and honesty and joy, but they're trying to kill you and they have a secret and they can't look at you in the eye and say, look, these are the rules and this is what's what. You want to join or not? And if you don't, you won't be privy to A, B, and C. Like, give a freaking choice. Like, make it plain. Put some options up there. You know what I'm saying? This bull crap that's going on, this Nazi paperclip stuff is not working for me. Putting me in a state of low vibratory frequency. I don't know who to trust anymore. No more just smiling at the whole world and giving my love to everybody. I got a shifty eyebrow for everybody now. I'm like, looking like The Rock. Like, you know him with that freaking eyebrow. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving a stink eye to everybody. I'm Scooby-Doo like, But everybody, where are you coming from? With that stuff you talking and doing. I still have a daughter in the hospital under mind control. I'm fighting the stuff they're doing to me. And I have children and grandchildren. And ain't no help yet. We are just starting to turn the lights on. Just starting to turn up the volume on the LTD lights. You could turn the volume up. Figured out what we want. We don't have to have just the light switch anymore on off. We can turn the knob up, turn up the frequency of light. Luminous. All right, so basically that was it. I thought it was really funny. Sometimes when I get really cruel and I get really angry because I know that they can't resist, I'll just call her a whole bunch of names and stuff, and and attach it to the dog, and I could start hearing the dog bark, and that's all I've got at times, I've got a lot more body pain since they revved up the frequency and the amount of torture. I can really feel the difference, and I've got to work harder just to keep my peace of mind. I hope that I find the space where I can find a little bit more tranquility, or at least where there are two or more gathered together, the Creator is in the midst. So increase and use the universal laws and increase our radius, like the 144 or the 1,000, when it comes to the people that our Creator birthed forward through the Djed, through our womb space of our mothers, to do certain apparatus, to do certain things within our society, within our culture. As we turn on the lights and figure out what those things are and who they are, and start implementing, doling out the different energies and stuff, realizing our significance and our power within that reflection, taking back our images and our truths. Since there's nothing new under the sun, we can take back the reflections of ourselves and utilize them to the best of our ability. It's really been weird. It can be a very difficult journey to listen to all those lies telling us that we are not responsible, that we are not powerful, that we are nothing. In the face of all that, to find out that that's not true at all. not only does our Creator live within us, and you know that our Creator is alive, but it looks different than what we thought, and that as big as our shadows are, things that we thought that were dark about us, meaningless, things that we thought needed to be cleansed, our light is. That's what shadow is. Get behind me, Satan. The shadow, El Shaddai. El Shaddai. Dark matters. What happens in the dark matters. What happens in the dark comes to light. Even the rocks, the very rocks shall cry out. We are light. And we've been sleeping, we've been in the darkness, and now it's time. It's okay. I keep telling myself, and the ancestors keep telling me, it's okay to be strong, to be beautiful, to be powerful, to be ours, to be a part of us, to be your higher self. It's okay. It's okay to be fabulous. They told you no. You have to break that programming. People ascend. Some of them go through this thing, this God thing, where they God complex. They believe that they just go overboard with it. You know, they get an overdose of who they are, that they're a part of the all. I had a hard time with that, with the whole notion of who I am and what I was appointed to do. I've been so freaking beat down emotionally and mentally and spiritually. Incest survivor. Estranged from my family. Always feeling I was needing and wanting, keeping like this energy. Needy and wanting for acceptance and love. And I took the sins of my father, his pedophilia, and the disease of my mother, the social indoctrination. But you have difficulty loving and connecting with your children. Just like that reptilian kind of thing. So I had my own low vibratory frequency stuff to deal with. Coming from a family that deals with addictions. And they're service people. They serve too. Feel like I never measured up and all that kind of stuff. So society really didn't have to tell me. That was just confirmation. When you looked at the movies, the TV, and you go to school and they tell you, you don't measure up. I already freaking knew that. I knew that since I was a little girl. Because it started at home. With the indoctrination and the sickness. The poison. My mom was affected by her mom. You tell her friends, and then you tell her friends, and then she tells her friends, and then it spreads. And it all starts in the house, like I was saying. And then we spread it. So I wasn't supposed to feel like anything or be anything. I was not supposed to listen to my own light code frequency, my own birth date. They kept telling me over and over again, you're freaking powerful. 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 And I was like, no, not me. I'm not powerful. Not me. It's them. They the ones with the power. See that? Jesus on. Jesus, take the wheel. It's them. Blame it on the president. Blame it on the rent. Blame it on anything But me, I am so small, so insignificant, so unempowered, so not responsible. I am so black. I can't even pronounce a word right. I'm so black. Books? I ain't reading no book. I'm black. Blackity black, 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 blackity black, 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 blackity black, black, black. Beating myself all up. Blackity black, 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 black. We do that to ourselves because they indoctrinate us with it. And so when we hate ourselves, we don't want to see somebody else love themselves because that hurts too much. That shows us how far off the mark we are. So it increases jealousy when somebody else finally gets it. Finally gets it. And not to the point where I got to stick my chest out and belittle you in order to have my light shine. But finding a balance just to hold my light. How do I do that? It ain't necessarily for you. I'm doing what I'm doing for you because I'm told to do it by our Creator from the inside of me, from the deepest freaking space that I got. From the brown to the boogie down, low freaking space. Like, that's how I know. Atonement. Atonement. To make adjustments. Like going to church and I couldn't figure out why I still felt all those freaking things that they said that we could pray away and we could read away. And I looked around the church and everybody still seemed to be infected with jealousy and envy and hate and greed and lying and stealing and all kinds of stuff. Where was the love and the connection? That is crazy. That's because we weren't taught that we're more inclined, we're supposed to be on the higher vibratory frequencies. Even if your minister tells you you're supposed to be on the high vibratory frequencies and to clean it up, we leave there and go watch a movie or go to work or go to school. And they tell us that that's a lie when we see the butler and the maid and the person being arrested. And you're subjugated to the noise pollutants within your community. And then may God help you if you're being gang stalked and you don't even realize it, and you have street performers and all other kinds of people indoctrinating your unconscious mind further into a negative state so that you can hover in a state of helplessness. And what if you're a person who helps to tune other people? That's what you are, like a crystal, like a cell tower. They have to put up more cell towers for 5G because of the radius, the thought, sound wave, frequency. How important all that is and how we are just starting to realize the depth of all these sciences and how it's not just science, it's spiritual. You telling me if somebody flicks a freaking frequency, it can make me act like a civilized human being that wants to learn and love and form togetherness? Or an animal who wants to shoot somebody in the head and hate everybody? And that's not supposed to be important? You're telling me colors and sounds can induce, simple colors and sounds can induce this? And this is not being utilized in the opposite direction since we're dealing with a world that has polarity? You're telling me that it's not purpose that we have all this. It's a sound war. When they changed the frequency of music, it was a sound war. Sound war. Sound of sound mind. Then we go with the whirling words again. The spelling and grammar and glamour. I could go all night. I could go all night with this love, the conception of the wisdom, the information that comes to us, the light code frequency, that we are responsible We are fabulous, and we are great, and we are mighty. We are responsible for changing the light code frequency around, within, without the globe. As within, so without. As above, so below. The 369. Triangulate on that. Vortex math. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so I'm finished. Thank you very much, family, for listening to me. I'm so grateful that you joined me. Please join me on YouTube. Regina's Rabbit Hole. I also have a Patreon where I write down the finer details of the things that I'm doing in regards to the dance, and break down the parts so that you can use different healing modalities and stuff. It's just $5 for the one on Patreon. That would help me a lot. I'm going to put a donation thing on the YouTube for this one. I take the videos that I do with you and I put them on my YouTube. I'm going to start asking for assistance. I would like to meet people. I would like to be able to travel. I would like to be able to at least have a home or an environment where I can invite like minds together so we could at least have some tea and talk. I could have you here with me and we could see each other and broadcast that together. But unfortunately, that's the area of my life that needs mending. Is finances and my independence. I've been very honest about what's been going on in my life. Building my worth and my value with you as I see your value for me. I can't be therapeutic and whole without you if I'm in a world with you. It's that simple. You know, it's like that broadband. I need you. We need each other to change the world through consensus, right? The weight of this light code frequency is a shareable wave, okay? So, if you don't know what I talked about, go back and look it up. They're topics that are worth looking up. Tetragrammaton, Saturn's cube, and vortex math. Israel, El Shaddai. And we deal with light and dark. It's a pole, not one side. And the balance is in realizing and admitting that. So you're not all not powerful, and you're not all only powerful. That was supposed to be a dance, a movement, okay? A Taurus field, a light, like a candle, not. That's the record, to skip a record. Instead of this that we do. They want us to stay like this so they can monitor it and package it. It does this. It does this. It turns off. It turns on. It does 50 million things. Oh, doggone it. I have to learn 50 million things I don't want it. It's too much responsibility to learn all that stuff. What do you mean it does all this? Slow it down. Give me something I can understand. Okay, well, it does this. Girls do this. it does. You freaking liar. If you take the chains off, it does all this. But they can't control that. Okay? And that's what we do. So wake up. We do that. That's us. It's hip hop. What? We do all that. We come up with 52 block when we're just trying to box. What? We add on the karate. We know about those words that are worlds. We put the hip hop on it. Okay? This is Regina's Rabbit Hole. This was Talk Therapy. Much love to you and yours. Catch me on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe if you so choose. I'm out. Thank you, family.